Yo, what's happening, everybody? Your boy Big Brandoh, and we're back with BSing with Brandoh. Now, if you're familiar with this is a podcast I started a few years ago. I kind of stopped doing it. I tried doing it again 2 years in a row, and the content just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So when I first started this thing out, I was doing it solo, just by myself. I was kind of answering some questions and kind of just getting into some of my old stories of coming up when I got into this print business. But as things progressed, I started to want to bring on guests. And then when I started to bring on guests, some of the stories that were shared were kind of incriminating, and some of them weren't YouTube friendly, I would say. So I never put them out. The idea with this thing, now that we're revamping it up and starting all over again, I just wanted to feel this thing out with no expectations this time around. So the first one's just going to be me solo. Just kind of wanted to talk things through and then see how we can go from here. And then I do already have some of the episodes already pre-recorded with some guests, and we'll be releasing those depending on how things go from here. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to see where the audience lies within this podcast thing, and then also I want to make sure that the information is going to be beneficial to everybody out there, because if it's just going to be a bunch of rambling and just two people talking and nothing's really being shared, I don't see any benefit in that. So I want to make sure that we're going to be bringing you the information that you guys want and that you're used to on my channel, but at the same exact time, I want to be able to share stories. One of the big ones is just sharing mistakes. The whole point of this podcast and why I wanted to start this 3-4 years ago was to share my mistakes and other business owner mistakes, because I feel everybody could kind of learn from that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing here. This first one, me by myself, unedited, just going to be rambling through and kind of talking things through. And like I said, I just wanted to do this so I could get the audience or the viewers to chime in and let me know what they like, what they want to see, what they don't like. If they think podcast is oversaturated and they don't think my channel needs one, or they don't want to hear me talking for like 45 minutes to an hour, I get it. You know what I mean? So this one is for you guys to actually give me some feedback on what you guys want to see, what you don't want to see. Stop this, go back to the 10-minute videos. We'll go from there. All right. But I'm going into this one with no expectations. The last time that I recorded these and I had a lot of different people on, I never released any of them. You know what I mean? So a lot of it has to do with the stories that were shared. Some of the stuff, in editing, it would have made for good content, but at the same time, maybe wouldn't be good for people's businesses. Like I said, the people I interview are other business owners. So I never wanted to put out anything that could jeopardize their business. And, sometimes people get comfortable when we're talking, and when we're just kind of shooting the shit, things are said. And sometimes those things we don't want to make them public. So I respect the guest. I respect the people that I'm interviewing and the people that I'm talking to. So I showed them the clips, and, some people had issues with them. Some people didn't want them to be out. Some people didn't like the way they looked and sounded on the podcast. So this time we're going around and not having any expectations with this one. I'm just going to keep going through and seeing what happens. I'm planning on launching them maybe once a month or something like that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so this first one is just going to be about me. If you watch any of the other BSing with Brandoh episodes from years ago, you'll know that I've been in the print business for a very long time, since the 90s. I started screen printing. I got into heat presses and vinyl early 2000s. I kind of transitioned away from screen printing, and now I just do 100% heat presses. There's nothing wrong with it. This is something I've been fighting on YouTube since I got onto YouTube. And kind of what I wanted to talk about was just my YouTube journey, really. And some of the mistakes I made, and then some of the ways I corrected those mistakes to kind of see a better outlook on YouTube, because I had way different expectations when I got on. The main reason I started the channel was to teach people how to get their wholesale license or their reseller certificate or reseller permit, whatever you call it in your states. Like I said, I've been in business since the 90s, and a lot of people always ask me, hey, how do I get my wholesale license? Or how do I register as a business? Or what do I got to do? How much does it cost? My very first 3 videos that I've ever uploaded was how to register your business to be a legitimate business in the state and county that you live in, how to get your EIN or your tax ID number, and then on top of that, how to get your wholesale license. So those three things, if you watch them in order, it'll walk you through the process of getting your wholesale license or your reseller permit. And this is so you could buy wholesale goods. And a lot of people think just because they could buy wholesale goods, they want to pretend to be a business and buy stuff wholesale because it's at a discounted rate. But there is taxes and fees and stuff that apply to it, and a lot of people don't understand that stuff. So for the people that are looking into getting their wholesale license or getting their reseller permit, it's the same thing. I'm going to be referencing wholesale license because that's what I'm used to calling it, but it's called a reseller permit now, or seller certificate or reseller certificate, whatever the terminology is now. This is where you buy wholesale goods because you're buying with the intention to resell that product and charge sales tax on top of that, and then collect the sales tax. Like I said, a lot of my homeboys were hitting me up and like, hey man, how do I do this? And I was walking them through the process, and it's fairly easy. You know, like the way I talk about doing it is registering for a DBA. That's doing business as. This registers you as a legitimate business in whatever state and county that you live in. Doing business as, or also called a fictitious business name, is basically you saying whatever your business name's going to be. Like, let's say it's going to be Big Brandoh Shirts. I'm going to be Big Brandoh Shirts. So I'm going to be doing business as Big Brandoh Shirts. This is the cheapest way that I know how to register your business legitimately. A lot of people talk about LLCs and S Corps and corporations and all this other stuff. That's cool. I'm not talking about that. I talk about DBA, which is doing business as, or your fictitious business name. This is the cheapest and easiest way of doing it. You go down to your county clerk's office, same exact place where you get your marriage license. Like if you're going to get married, you go down to the court, and this is where you file the application for your DBA. You could do it online. I'm not familiar with the online process. You could use people like LegalZoom and other people like that. They charge a fee for it. But here in Los Angeles County, it's like $30, $35 to register your business. So I would walk all my homeboys that wanted to learn how to start a business and get their wholesale license. This is the process I would walk them through. Like, go down to the county clerk's office, register for your business. When you leave the county clerk's office, there's a ton of people out there, where there used to be, of different newspaper publications. And that's because once you register your business, you need to publish it in a circulated newspaper. And this date stamps when your business starts. Every single business is in the back of a newspaper one time, or maybe 2 weeks in a row, or whatever it is. But it is date stamped. This is saying, hey, look, on this day, Big Brandoh Shirts was registered as a business at this time, this date. This is a business that just opened up. If you look in the back of every single newspaper, you'll see all the FBNs, all the businesses that just started. You have to do this. This was a part a lot of people had a hard time with when I was talking to people, because they're like, man, I don't want my business to be in the newspaper. It has to be. This is public record. It's going out into the world, and it's dated and time-stamped that your business started this day. So the people that were hitting me up like, hey, man, like, I want to get my business started, this is the first steps. Go get your DBA. Once you get your DBA and it gets approved, publish it in the newspaper. That's where everybody usually stops. Like, man, I don't want to do that. After you do that, then you apply for your EIN, which is your tax ID number. This right here is going to give you a special number for your business. So like you have a social security number, this number that's going to be given to you is called the EIN, employer identification number. This is your business's social security number. In other words, that's how you would think about it, right? So everything done under the business is going to be done under the EIN. This is the best thing for you to get to separate everything, but at the same exact time, you need this to get to the next step of getting your wholesale license. So the videos break down this whole process. Register your business, how to do it online, or if you want to go to the county clerk's office, then your EIN, the next video breaks that down. You know, this is the IRS website. This is where you go. This is how you get it. It's pretty instant when you get it. After that, it's going to get your wholesale license. Back then, used to go to the Board of Equalization. It was called the BOE.gov or something. It's no longer like that for the state of California. State of California is like the cdtfa.gov or something like that. I might be wrong, but I made an updated video to talk about that. But this is the process. Get your business, or you register your business. After you register your business, you get it published. After you do that, you get your EIN. After you have your EIN and your registered business name, you apply for your wholesale license. This was my very first 3 videos ever in life. I've never made any other YouTube video before that. These are the first 3, and I only made these 3 videos. So when my homeboys asked me, hey, how do I do this? I would send them the links and be like, hey, check it out. I made videos about this. Handle it. That's all you got to do. So that way I didn't have to handhold anybody. That way I didn't have to sit there and show people how to do it or take them to the county clerk's office. The information's there. This is how many people were hitting me up about this process. So once that was up on YouTube, I forgot about it. If you check the date stamp, like I forget what year I posted those videos, but after that I didn't post any videos whatsoever, because that was the end of my YouTube career, was just to post those 3 videos so I could send them to people that asked me how to do it. I was just getting tired of going back and forth with people. It's easier for them to just watch the video. After that, my email started blowing up. My email was just going off with YouTube comments and people hitting me up. And I didn't have like a YouTube profile at the time. Like nothing was set up, because it was just, hey, like if I went back and changed my name on YouTube, my YouTube name probably wouldn't be Big Brandoh. That's just, my homies call me Brandoh. Like forever, that's been my name in my neighborhood growing up. I mean, my parents call me Brandoh. Everybody calls me Brandoh. But that's what it was signed up under, was just, all right, let me make these videos under Big Brandoh so I could send them to my friends and then they could see them. Like I said, if I had a chance, I'd probably change my name. I probably would have changed it a long time ago. I think it's weird when people call me Brandoh that don't know me. That's always just been a personal name for me, but you know, it is what it is. So I never posted anything else after that. And I just started getting, my email started going off with all these comments and stuff. And I started reading through the comments and I'm like, man, where am I getting this from? And it's from YouTube. And people are saying, man, thanks for this information. Or how do I do this? Or I live in Texas. What's the process for Texas? And then people were asking, you know, like, well, what do you do? Like, what, since you're giving information on how to register a business, what's your business? I've always been into t-shirts. So then my next follow-up ones were just talking about t-shirt brands. And it was talking about, you know, the transfers I use. Because I noticed there was nobody on YouTube talking about Plastisol transfers, which are screen printed transfers. Nobody was talking about them. There was a handful of guys talking about them. Or let me rephrase that. Nobody was talking about them in the sense of creating a clothing brand and a streetwear brand. Everybody was talking about screen printing. There's a few videos about DTG. A lot of videos about vinyl, but not many talking about custom screen printed transfers with Plastisol ink. That's what I've been using for the longest time. So I was like, man, how come nobody is talking about this stuff? So I made a few videos explaining what I do. I make t-shirts. I use a heat press. This is how I make them. Then when I started talking about Plastisol transfers and screen printed transfers, that's when I started to get a lot of questions from people on YouTube. And it was like, what the hell's a screen printed transfer? And there was also a ton of hate behind that. It was, those transfers suck, heat presses suck, that's not a quality way of making shirts. And a lot of it comes from people that were screen printing at the time, and a lot of it comes from, you know, people that had bad experiences with heat presses and vinyl and stuff like that. So I didn't know how to navigate all of this. So once again, I stopped making YouTube videos. I made a few and then that was it. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I want to do this because, one, there's a lot of people that are idiots out here. Two, there's a lot of people that need this help, and that's what kept me going. But also there were so many know-it-alls in the comments that I was like, I don't even know if I need to make videos, because it sounds like everybody's making videos. And I thought just because you comment on a video and you have a profile on YouTube, I thought that meant automatically you make videos too. So there were so many people in my comments talking shit about, you know, heat presses and screen printed transfers and all that. So I thought, all right, maybe they make t-shirt videos too. And I was like, there's a ton of people on here that make stuff that don't agree with transfers. So I found out that nobody that was commenting actually made videos. It was just people talking shit just to talk shit. And that's when I was like, all right, there's a space for me here because one, I want to address all the people saying that transfers suck and all this stuff, and I want to prove them wrong. But at the same exact time, I was like, there's so many people that don't even know that this thing exists. There's so many people that own, you know, eBay heat presses or Amazon heat presses that don't even know that screen printed transfers are a thing. They don't know what plastisol ink is. They don't know how to order or where to order custom transfers. And that's when I started to really put out t-shirt content, I guess. I started making a lot of t-shirt content around the brands that I was running at the time, around jobs that I was doing. And that's when I started to see the growth in the channel and the actual need for somebody like me on YouTube. And like I said, from my very first 3 videos, I didn't think, hey, I want to be a YouTuber or, yeah, I want to be a content creator. It was just to help out my friends. My next series of videos were just kind of talking about what I do. And it's just, I use transfers to print shirts. These are the benefits of using gang sheets. I could get all of these right here lined up on one transfer, and then I could press them onto any color t-shirt I want. And this is how I'm operating, and this is my profit margins and stuff like that. And then from there, I just started going in a little bit deeper into my businesses that I run and how I run them. That's where I seen the most popularity for my channel. That's where I started to see people asking more questions, not personal questions, but more business related questions on, you know, what do you do when orders come in, or what online store platform do you use, or what blank t-shirts do you use? And this is where the idea of me helping as many people as I possibly can came into. Not everybody's looking for the help, and the people that are looking for the help aren't necessarily genuine people. You know what I mean? Because at this time, I would answer almost every comment. I would answer every email that came in because I was like, man, this is cool. I'm helping people out. And people always want to know, what transfer companies do you use? What blank t-shirts do you use? What heat press do you use? And if you went back and looked at my videos from the very beginning, nothing's changed. Everything's the same. I still use a heat press. I still use a Heat Press Nation Signature Series heat press. That hasn't changed one bit. Still use that till this day. I actually have multiples of those in my shops now. But nothing's changed. I've always said this is the heat press that I use. These are the transfers that I use. These are the blank t-shirts I use, because it wasn't about hoarding the information. It was about helping the people that wanted to know about it. And I come from the era in the t-shirt industry where everything's a secret. It's, you got to learn this stuff for yourself. You got to make your own mistakes. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to waste all this money to learn from your experience and blah, blah, blah. It was a crazy time. You know what I mean? It was a freaking, everybody out there that was either a screen printer or even did vinyl, nobody wanted to share where they bought vinyl from. Nobody wanted to share what press they were using. Nobody wanted to share anything on how to buy blanks, where to buy blanks, all of that. And nowadays we call it gatekeeping. Back then it was more so of just like job security. People didn't want to share this stuff because they felt everybody was competition and they're going to take their job away from them. So I get it. You know what I mean? So this is the time that I was coming up, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. It was, you kind of just had to find your way on your own. Nobody was helping you out. So I wanted to change that, and then I started the YouTube journey, and I started helping people out, answering every DM, answering every email, answering every single comment. Fast forward a little bit, YouTube isn't blowing up or anything like that, but I have a decent amount of followers, maybe like, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000, something like that, and I thought that was crazy at the time. And I'm showing people how I'm using transfers, and I'm showing, you know, the benefits of using gang sheets and the companies that I'm using. And then I started getting like some emails from people saying, hey man, like, you know, you ripped me off, or, hey, you know, I bought this from you, but this is kind of pricey. I wasn't selling nothing at the time. No, I wasn't selling t-shirts to anybody on YouTube. I wasn't selling anything. And somebody started selling a list of transfer companies that I used. Like I said, at the time, nobody was talking about transfers. it was just myself. There was a few other guys. The T-shirt help desk was talking about transfers. The guy that used to make the faith-based T-shirts, he was showing stock transfers and stuff like that he was using. His last name was Ross. I can't remember his first name. I want to say it was Cortez, like the sneaker, but I might be wrong. But these are the only people that were talking about transfers at the time. So when I came on, I was telling people and I'm showing them from the streetwear side of things because I was running brands and I was showing them how I was using them and what I'm doing and how it all worked. Somebody out there started selling the information that I give away for free, like through email or DM. They packaged it up and they were selling it for like $100-something. And people were hitting me up like, yo, this is kind of a ripoff for the information that you give me. And I'm like, man, what are you talking about? I didn't sell nothing. And it was packaged up as Big Brandoh's transfer list or Big Brandoh's transfer sources or something like that. And it was just, somebody asked me in an email and I responded, hey, this is the company I use for this. This is the company I use for this. And this company I use for this, blah, blah, blah. And once I found out somebody was selling it for like $100-something, I was like, damn, like, one, you're ripping people off. Two, you're impersonating myself. And I don't know what kind of information you're putting out there under my name. Sounds crazy. So I released my own list and I stopped giving that information out for free because people were capitalizing on the information I was sharing and ripping people off. And I thought that was a shady business move. So what I ended up doing was I released the list on my own. And these are the transfer companies that I use for multicolor, way before DTF and all that stuff. This was like spot color, multicolor stuff. There was companies that were doing like big gang sheets. Now gang rolls are a thing where it's like 22 inches by like 19 feet long or whatever. But back then, like the big ones were like 30 by 40 was a big gang sheet. I think they're called Wild Side or Wild Style or something like that. They went under a little while ago. But that was a company I used for like these huge gang sheets, like big ones. I put the list out for $15. It was a PDF file that you could buy from me directly and download it. And the way I proved that it was coming from me was I also offered a 30-minute FaceTime or Skype session. So everybody that bought an ebook had a chance to jump on a Skype call or a FaceTime call with me for 30 minutes and just chop it up about, whatever they wanted to learn about me or from me, and then how to use the transfers or anything. Gave them any opportunity to talk to me and chop it up, and it was cool, man. And since then, it blew up. So I shut down the guy that was selling it for $100+ by selling mine for $15. And then on top of that, I offered that 30-minute FaceTime or Skype session. And like I said, I only had a few thousand followers, nothing crazy. So it was easy for me to manage. And then out of nowhere, everything boomed. The list started like really moving. Ebooks started flying. And then I was like booked out for years on doing these 30-minute one-on-one sessions. And I was doing like 6 to 8 a day on top of working a full-time job. And I was, scheduling myself out and doing all this crazy stuff. And it was wild because people would buy it and be like, all right, I want to schedule my one-on-one. Let's do it tomorrow. And I'm like, man, I'm already booked up for tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm booked up until next year. People were getting mad because they were just buying the ebook just for the 30-minute session. And I get it. But, it's kind of like first come, first serve. It's I have to serve everybody that bought before them. You know what I mean? So I was booked out for years, man. And then I eventually had to stop doing that. I had to stop offering the 30-minute session, and the ebooks were available. They're still available now. I don't think you really need to buy the ebooks from me anymore. Like a lot of the information's already on YouTube. But for the time being, at that time, they're beneficial. You know what I mean? I mean, the information in there is still good. It's valid. Some of the companies on the list are still there. I think there's only one that actually went under. The rest of them are still around. The prices changed a little because of the boom in heat presses. But the business ebook is just basically how to start a business using a heat press. The list was the transfer company list, all the transfer companies that I use. And then I had another one about patches, like heat press patches. That one's more so about patchmaker terminology. Because patchmakers talk different than printers, and a lot of people were getting screwed over when they would order patches from overseas. They didn't understand certain things. It's like the patch maker would say, well, do you want this to be 50%, 75, or 100%? And then that's it. And then people are like, well, what the hell does that mean? So I break down in the book what that kind of stuff means and what the edges mean and the backing means and all that good stuff, how to size a patch. All that's broken down in that patch book. Like I said, that information now you can find on YouTube. You can find it on my channel. You can find it anywhere. Everybody's talking about it now. But at the time, there wasn't too many people talking about this stuff. You got to remember, when I got onto YouTube and started talking about transfers and T-shirts and stuff, there was not a lot of people like there is now. Now there's a ton of content creators in this space. I'm not the only one anymore, you know what I mean? Which is cool, because everything that we do now as a small community in the T-shirt space just constantly grows the heat press community. The more we talk about it, the more channels pop up that use heat presses, the more the heat press kind of is a staple now in the T-shirt industry. Because you have to remember, when I was coming up, majority of the hate comments I was getting was from people that screen printed or got stuff screen printed and had bad experiences with heat presses. So they were always, heat press is weak, heat press isn't a way to run a business, transfers is not good, transfers is horrible quality, you got to get your stuff screen printed, that's the only way to go, blah, blah, blah. Until I started talking about controlling your inventory with the heat press, until I started talking about gang sheets, until I started talking about we're using the same exact inks that the screen printers use, the same exact screen printing process goes into making transfers, just like traditional screen printing onto a T-shirt. And that's when the naysayers started to kind of be like, oh, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. Or this guy isn't going anywhere. Or this guy has the proof on his channel. And everything from wash tests to how to apply the stuff correctly, all that stuff is on my channel. And then now, you know, nobody's really batting an eye when it comes to transfers or heat presses and stuff like that. The quality all depends on how things are applied, right? You have to apply something correctly for it to last long on the T-shirt. Just because you press it down and it sticks down one time doesn't mean it's going to be there forever. You have to make sure that you're curing the ink, just like a traditional screen printer. You cure the ink at the proper temperature to improve the durability of that print. If you press too hot or you overcook something, it turns it brittle and it cracks. If you undercook it, it's not going to adhere correctly, and then it's going to fall off the shirt. Same goes for DTG, same goes for transfers, same goes for traditional screen printing. Everything has to be applied and cured correctly. Doesn't matter what you're using. Conveyor belt oven, heat press. That's why when people say, oh, I just use a heat gun, you're not really getting the accurate temperature when you're using a heat gun to apply the ink correctly. Most of these inks have to be baked at a certain temperature to improve its longevity, to improve its durability, and it's going to make sure it's going to last on the shirt. A lot of people don't understand that part. But this is where my YouTube journey kind of went into a different direction. And when I say a different direction, I understood who was watching me. There was people that were brand new to creating T-shirts. They were the ones going on YouTube and Google searching or YouTube searching how to make a T-shirt from home. What's the cheapest way to make a T-shirt? Once they started to see the heat press, they want to know different heat presses, which ones to buy. So I started to talk about the heat presses that I use, and that's the Heat Press Nation Signature Series. My very first video where I show a heat press, that's the press I'm using. Years on YouTube, talking about this press, promoting this press, showing this press. Heat Press Nation doesn't know me. I don't know anybody at Heat Press Nation. And then out of nowhere, Heat Press Nation comments on one of my videos. Hey, that's our press. Thanks for making this video. At the time, I thought it was cool. You know, companies taking notice on what I'm doing, and I'm just like, all right, cool. The cool thing about it was Heat Press Nation was already making durable quality presses, but they didn't have a big social media presence or that I knew of at the time. And they were kind of transitioning into more of video content and stuff like that. I think they already had a YouTube channel where they're showing demos on how to use their presses and stuff like that. But there wasn't anybody on YouTube talking about their press like I was, or showing how to use it or showing it in action, I guess. And then they reached out. They commented. We had a few words. I told them how long I had the press and how long I've been in business, how long I've been on YouTube, and blah, blah, blah. And this is all going down in the comments. We eventually started emailing back and forth. And then that's when we started talking about affiliates, right? I didn't know what an affiliate was. I was so brand new to YouTube, and I wasn't aware of how that kind of stuff worked. You know what I mean? I always heard of people getting paid on YouTube, and I thought it was just from like AdSense and, running ads and getting views and stuff like that. But working with a company on brand deals and stuff like that, I wasn't familiar with. And affiliate marketing, I had no idea I legit had to Google search what it was and how to do it and all that stuff because I wasn't familiar with it. I was used to selling t-shirts, not, promoting brands or anything like that. So that's when Heat Press Nation actually reached out and was like, hey, we're going to be starting up an affiliate program. We would like you to be a part of it. I didn't know what it was. They didn't know what they were doing. And we all learned together. You know what I mean? And I found this out later on because my relationship with Heat Press Nation grew from there. From that first comment that they left on my page till now, my relationship with them has flourished and grown. And everybody over there is super dope, man. From Jimmy, the owner, to Jared. Jared was the first person to reach out to me and be my, I guess, like affiliate guru. You know what I mean? He was the one walking me through it on how it worked. And this is how crazy it was. And I had this conversation with them last year over dinner. Was when I first started it, I didn't know how it worked, right? I knew if somebody bought something through one of my links that went to Heat Press Nation, I got some sort of commission from it, right? I didn't know how to promote the stuff and be overly selly on my channel, so I never went that route. I never did anything like that. But then also, I didn't understand how people are finding my links, right? I just, even till now, till this day, the only way you get my links is if you go into the description box of any of my pages or the bio of my Instagram page. I rarely link stuff everywhere else. That's just where you find the stuff. And maybe I'm still a bad YouTuber in that sense because I'm not doing it correctly. But I knew that if somebody bought something, I got an email saying, hey, you made a sale or something like that. I thought automatically, all right, I'm supposed to get paid out now. So I would hit up Jared from Heat Press Nation, and he'll tell you too, man, I used to bug the shit out of him. Because every time I got a sale, I would hit him up and be like, hey, man, where's my money at? I just made a sale. And he didn't even know. He was just like, well, let me see how this works. And the way it was working at the time was they was just paying me out, whenever stuff came in, they'll pay me out because, like I said, we're all new to this. They were new at the same time. I was new at that time. I didn't know what was going on. Jared was figuring this stuff out, and Jared was cool as hell about everything because, like I said, I was bugging the shit out of him every time. And one of my videos ended up like blowing up. It was like, I think it was right when the Cameo 3 came out, or maybe the Cameo 3 didn't come out, but I made a video tutorial showing how to use the Cameo 3 and press on a shirt. That was one of my videos, one of my first videos that I linked my affiliate things in, and then boom, things just started moving, right? So every time sales came in, I was hitting them up, and at a certain point, it was like, I felt like Jared was dodging me because he wasn't answering my emails. But what I didn't know was that's not how affiliate stuff works. Like, you don't just get paid right away. You know what I mean? It takes some time to process. Like I said, we're all figuring this thing out at the same time. But I was like hitting them up. It got to the point where Jared wasn't reaching out. So I was hitting up other people over there and think I was hitting up Patrick from over there. And I was hitting up everybody else that I could find the email like, yo, where's my money at, man? I'm making these sales for you guys. And I'm not getting paid out or nothing's hitting my account. I didn't know that wasn't how it was supposed to work, right? So as time went on, me and Jared ended up becoming real good friends just through email. Like, we're talking to each other all the time because we're going through with the payments and we're talking about affiliates and he's talking about other products. And I'm like, yo, man, like, I don't know if some of these products will work on my channel because I talk about heat presses and transfers and vinyl. Some of this other stuff might not work. And that's when I felt that I was considered a YouTuber, right? A content creator, because now I have a brand backing me, I'm making content, and things are going. And what I didn't know was I still didn't understand my position in this space because the community that we're building, we were building from the ground up. Like, I was there early on when there wasn't a big t-shirt community on YouTube, and now it's huge. You know what I mean? And I was there when we were first building this thing up. There wasn't a lot of channels around. There's only a handful of channels, especially not a lot of channels talking about heat presses and transfers and stuff like that. But as we're building this thing up, I didn't understand how big it was getting. I didn't understand my space. So I continued to just make videos about making t-shirts, some of the marketing strategies I was using, the ones that were working for me. I was making videos about that, designs I was making, just everything that I was doing for the business. I just kept making videos about, just to show the process, just to show how I did stuff, and things grew. And the reason why things grew was just I never veered off into another direction. I just stayed in my lane, man, and I cruised at my own pace. When I say cruised at my own pace, I was always about just selling t-shirts. Till this day, t-shirt sales come first, always. YouTube always comes last for me. I know a lot of other people out there, YouTube is their main gig and YouTube is their full-time job. So they're always on. For me, it's selling t-shirts first and then YouTube. So if I'm busy making shirts and I don't have time to set the camera up, I didn't put out a video. If I was busy, there's times out of the year where I'm vending at different festivals and stuff. I don't have time to sit down and make videos, so I wouldn't put out videos. So I'd go months without posting videos. Like I've gone a long time without posting videos. I try to stay on like a kind of a somewhat of a schedule, I guess, but I always still, like December, I think I posted one video all of December, and in November I maybe posted 2 or 3 videos, maybe 2 videos. I'm really bad at it. When I get really busy in my regular life of making shirts, that's when, everything else takes the back seat, and YouTube is one of them. So like I said, I didn't know my space because I didn't feel I was a YouTuber in the sense of a full-time content creator. I was just kind of half-assing it, and I still kind of just half-ass it. So I just post when I can, and I turn the camera on when I can. I don't take it too serious. And I say this to a lot of people, and I was saying this to Jared, Jimmy, and Patrick from Heat Press Nation. It's for myself. I don't think I think I'm a horrible YouTuber. I think I'm a horrible content creator because nothing's on schedule. My videos aren't polished up like everybody else's. I'm still not even shooting in 4K because I haven't upgraded my cameras. I'm just doing whatever works for me and what's easiest and fastest for me. But the response I always get is, that's what makes your channel your channel. You know what I mean? That's what makes you you. This is why people tune in, because they're getting that from you. A lot of my relatability, I guess, on here is the way I talk. A lot of people hate the way I talk, but there is a big audience out there that fucks with how I talk, man. They get down with how I speak, and they speak like me, and I talk to the people that talk like me. I know there's people on here that don't even use cuss words and can't stand the language that I use or can't understand some of my references. And it's not anything bad. It's just, I talk to the guys that talk like me, because when I got onto YouTube, I wanted to make videos for guys just like me and my homeboys, guys that are going to be looking for the information, that don't want any fluff, that just want to know what the hell's going on. This is the information I wanted to put out, and that's why my videos are edited that way. I edit my videos where I take out every single dead space. Every time I say or I'm trying to gather my thoughts, I cut all that out. So that way it's just boom, 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 boom. Information's there. Run off with it. Go make some money. That's always been my MO from the very, very beginning of editing videos for YouTube, was just that. I want to give you guys meat and potatoes only. That's it. So sometimes my video might be 3 minutes. Sometimes my videos might be 15 minutes. It all depends on what I'm talking about and how I'm talking it through and stuff. There's no script. There's no notes. There's no nothing. It's just off the top, turn the camera on. I talk about what I want to talk about. That's it. But that's, I guess, what people relate to. The other thing that makes me relatable is I still have a full-time job just like you. I work the same amount of hours that everybody does, if not more. I'm doing 40 to 60 hours a week. I have a regular day job, like a regular 9 to 5. I don't make YouTube videos full time. I don't sell t-shirts full time, but I do treat my t-shirt business like a full-time job. So I have a regular 9 to 5, and then after that's done, I do t-shirts. You know what I mean? So I treat them both like a full-time job. That's why YouTube always takes the back seat for me. Now, when people hear that I have a full-time job, they're like, man, what, you can't make a living selling t-shirts? I can easily make a living selling t-shirts. But I've spent the last 20 years creating a career for myself. And that career has been able to give me a really, really comfortable life. Why would I give that up? That's something that I worked for. That's something that I worked on. I'm good at it. That's never been my goal, is to sell enough t-shirts to quit my job. What I do for my day job doesn't even feel like work. And for a lot of people, they understand what that means. There's a lot of people that hate their day job and they're trying to start their t-shirt business so they don't have to work for anybody. And I get that, but everybody's goals are not the same. That's why when I talk about, man, I got a full-time job still, and people are like, oh man, like YouTube ain't cutting you a big check, or you're not selling enough t-shirts. It's not that. It's just I enjoy what I do. When you enjoy your actual work, it's not work no more. And you hear that from a lot of people. But there's so many people that get caught up in the mindset of, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work for the man no more. Owning a business is like having 3 full-time jobs on its own, because you're playing every single position in that business. You're creating the shirts, you're doing the design work, you're doing the marketing, you're doing the sales and advertising, you're doing the production part because you're actually pressing the shirts. You're also doing the research and development of stuff because you're testing out transfers, testing out new blanks. You're always testing out the market. All of that, you wear all of those hats, and people think it's easy, and it's not. It is very, very hard to do that. So when people say like, oh, I don't want to work for nobody no more, I want to do it myself. And then when you find yourself doing it for yourself and the money's not coming in because you're not working hard enough, or your designs aren't hitting and you don't have steady income no more, I would hate to put my family in that position, because I have a wife, I have kids, I have a mortgage to pay. I'm not going to put them in a position where I'm going all in on my hopes and dreams and I can't get the bills paid. You know what I mean? So me personally, having my full-time job, 1, it's a safety net, but 2, it's just I'm good at what I do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people like, hey, well, what do you do? For the last 20 years, I've been a photographer. Not a fancy photographer that everybody thinks about, not a photographer in the sense of I'm shooting runway models and high fashion stuff and I'm doing all kind of crazy advertising campaigns. Nothing like that. I'm a documentation photographer. Since then, I now run the team of dope ass documentation photographers. You know what I mean? So for what I do now is, it's more about like YouTube, right? It's teaching people, it's guiding them, it's career development, it's helping people get more out of whatever they're doing. That's what I find a really, really strong passion for. And that's why what I do now, I don't see myself leaving, or I don't see myself like, well, I make X amount of dollars on YouTube and I make X amount of dollars selling t-shirts. I'm out of here. Let me get out of here and start something else, or let me just let this run. Nah, it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? For myself, it's more about, hey, let me just bang this stuff out. Let me just keep doing what I'm already doing, man. I can manage my time on YouTube. I can manage my t-shirt business, and I can manage my day job. I could do it. You could do it too. But it does come down to time management. You know what I mean? And that's the part that a lot of people struggle with, because a lot of times we have like outside vices, right? Like there's, some people like just chilling out watching Netflix, and I love a good Netflix show. You know what I mean? I could get caught up in that stuff. Or some people get caught up in video games. Some people get caught up in the craziest stuff, but it's not productive. You know what I mean? That's just kind of mind-numbing stuff to keep you occupied, but it's not productive. When you figure out how to be productive with your time, and be responsible with your time, all of this stuff can be done. Like you hear the people that say like, man, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and I grind 24 hours and blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is true. But if you have really good time management, you could still get your sleep in. You still have time with your family. You still have leisure time where you wanted to watch Netflix shows or play video games or do stuff like that. But you can also get your stuff done for your business at the same time. It just comes down to time management. I feel my time management is pretty spot on. It could be a lot better. But I do try to be productive with my time. And that's how I stay afloat. Making YouTube videos, like I said, I understand the hierarchy, right? My day job comes first. Second comes the t-shirt business. Third comes YouTube. And if I'm busy with my day job and I'm busy making t-shirts, YouTube takes a back seat. When you understand and you prioritize stuff, that's when things get easier for you. A lot of people, they go full blast with everything they're doing and they put in 1,000% on everything, and that's cool. But that's not sustainable. That'll burn you out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, people relate to my channel and relate to my content because, one, I'm like them. I have a full-time job. I talk like them. And I'm selling T-shirts. You know what I mean? A lot of people watch me because they want to learn how to sell T-shirts or they want to sell T-shirts. That's how things work here. When you watch my channel, that's what you're going to get. You're getting somebody that actually sells T-shirts and they're telling you how they do it. And they're showing you how they do it. That's it. There's nothing else that goes. There's nothing that's hidden behind the paywall. I have a Patreon, and that Patreon is for early content. And there's information that I share on there. It's a little bit more one-on-one, and I show a little bit extra. A lot of it is for the Facebook group and stuff like that. But you have to remember that that's not for everybody. Sometimes people think, all right, I'm getting every single secret if I sign up for this guy's course or if I sign up for this guy's class or this dude's doing, some master class and this guy has a Patreon. You only get out what you actually put into it. You know what I mean? So you could consume all the content on my channel and learn everything about my business through the playlist, and you apply it to your own stuff for free, and you go out there and get that money yourself. There's other people that learn differently. There's certain people that learn through books, so they rather buy ebook and read through something, so they learn that way. There's people that need like one-on-one sessions, and they pay for somebody's time so they could ask the questions and actually learn from the person speaking. There's people that learn just through observation only. They want to see somebody do it, they pick up how to do it, and they run with it. Everybody learns differently, so that's why I have the Patreon. It's for certain people. YouTube is for certain people. It's just catering to the different needs of the people. But you're not going to get any crazy, insider inside scoop on my Patreon. There's certain things that I share on there, like when I find out if a certain brand is using a certain blank, I'll share it on Patreon. But that's about it, man. Outside of that, it's just things that I'm working on. You find that out on my Instagram and stuff like that. But staying relatable on YouTube is my biggest I guess that's what my channel is all about, is just staying relatable to the people that are watching me. You know what I mean? That's why you never see me stray too far. You never see me, doing anything out of the ordinary. Everything is pretty much on brand with what the channel's all about. I don't do a bunch of reviews about different equipment. I don't do, I don't make videos, anything crazy. My channel is about t-shirts, how I make the t-shirts, how I sell the t-shirts, and that's about it. But that's how I stayed on YouTube and stayed consistent all these years, is because I could talk about t-shirts till I'm blue in the face. I have a genuine love for selling t-shirts. Like I said, I've been doing it since the 90s. The goal, obviously the goal is to be a millionaire. You want to make $1 gazillion selling t-shirts, and you want people to wear your designs. But I really, really get a kick out of the marketing side of things, the challenges that come with starting a brand and selling t-shirts and getting people excited about your designs and getting a perfect stranger to spend their hard-earned money on your t-shirt that you created, a design that you created with your bare hands. I'm not talking none of that AI stuff. I'm talking about you drew this, you digitally drew it, you created the concept, you brought your idea to life on a t-shirt, and you put it out into the world, and some stranger said, hey, that's a dope shirt. Let me spend my hard-earned money to buy that shirt and wear it proudly. That's the part that is self-rewarding to myself. That's what I do it for. I love trying to figure out new target audiences. I love trying to find out new marketing strategies, and I share all that stuff on my YouTube channel. And maybe that's why people continue to watch my channel, is because that kind of information is on there. And there's not a lot of people that talk about that kind of stuff, you know. What you won't find on my channel is any get-rich-quick schemes. There's nothing that I do that happens overnight. Everything that I talk about is just basically hard work. Put the work in, do your research, do your homework, put out a good quality product, and see what happens. That's all it is. And that's basically what I do every single day. Anytime I make a new design, I'm just taking a chance, I'm taking a risk, and hoping, with my fingers crossed, somebody buys it. That's all. You know what I mean? But when I talk about YouTube and I talk about how I grew on YouTube and the things that I do on YouTube, a lot of it has to do with the way that people like myself, I'm guessing there's people that are like me that watch my channel. They watch my videos for a little bit of entertainment, but they're really watching it for the information. You know, you'll know I always put music in the background of all my videos. That's just to move the video along. I hate listening to somebody just talk, like this video right here. Bugs the hell out of me. Podcasts, I kind of stay engaged with the conversations that are had when I listen to podcasts, but I hate the dead silence. I hate when there's nothing in the background. So I put music in the back of all my videos, and you'll know there's always a background track in every single video. There's an instrumental playing, because it kind of keeps the conversation moving. And I do this, and I stole this idea from Big Boy from the radio. Big Boy, who used to be on Power 106. Now he's on 92.3. The way he does it, whenever he's talking, there's always music playing in the background. And I always felt like it just keeps the conversation going. When you listen to a radio personality that doesn't have music in the background, you're kind of just listening to a dead room and somebody speak. I never wanted my videos to be like that, so that's why I do it. I edit my videos the way I do because I want you guys just to get the information, and I don't want you guys to watch me or try to hear me think my words through. There's a lot of times where I'm like, and I'm trying to catch my thoughts. So I edit my videos that way. So there's music in them. There's information in them. And it's just the meat and potatoes of the information, and that's it. You know, I try not to ramble. That maybe that's what this podcast is about, is just going to be me rambling about, you know, random stuff, and who knows. But that's my whole point of making videos, is everything stays on brand when you watch my channel. Everything is cohesive along the lines of the information being shared and the structure of my videos and stuff like that. I try not to try new things and do anything crazy. Just want you guys to get the information. But, you know, years later, now that I'm on YouTube for a few years and I have this cool little plaque for 100K, I think it's dope, man. I think the community that we've built, the people I've met, is dope. And some of the companies and stuff like that I've basically met throughout the years outside of Heat Press Nation, like meeting people like Rum and Mike from Supacolor. Super dope, man. And I hate to say super dope after Supacolor, but it's a company that popped up. I tested them out for months before I even took a meeting with them, because I wanted to make sure that, you know, I could actually lay it down, and it was something that I wanted to use and incorporate into my business. Before I became an affiliate with them, it was, you know, let me see if these products actually work. And then the bonus for myself was their original location was in the city of Gardena, down the street from where I grew up. They were on Gramercy and 166. I grew up on 166 and Western, which is right across the street from them. So when I found that out, I was like, oh, easy call. I know exactly where you guys are at. I wanted to support a Gardena business. They're no longer in Gardena. I think they're in Hawthorne now, but still in the South Bay, so I'm cool with that. But since then, building the relationship with Rum and Mike and just being cool with those dudes and understanding what their vision is for their business and their brand, and them giving me all creative freedom to make the content that I want to make, is dope. Anytime I take a meeting with anybody that wants to work with me, that's the first thing. Don't tell me what to wear. Don't tell me how to talk. Don't tell me how to make the content. Let me do me and see what happens. You know what I mean? The people that give me creative freedom are the companies that I work with, man. The second thing is the companies that I work with are companies that I actually use for my business. Right now, if you came into my store, my retail store, majority of the shirts in here are going to be pressed with Supacolor Transfers. This is the stuff that I actually use. And it was pressed on a Heat Press Nation heat press that I've always used. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the hats and stuff that I do are going to be from like, blank hats that are local to Southern California, because I try to find blanks from everywhere. You know what I mean? On top of that, I use a Ricoma heat. I use a Ricoma heat press and an embroidery machine, but I use the Ricoma embroidery machine, and a lot of people hit me up and they're like, "Hey, man, well, what made you go with Ricoma?" To me, like I always say, it was the customer service. The representative that I always work with, Brianna's cool as hell, man. Over the years, we've built a really cool relationship. She's always been super dope. If I have anything, any question or anything, she makes it easy for me to contact her. The tech support over there, any guy in my shop that runs the embroidery machine, if they have something they need to troubleshoot, if they're having an issue with something, if they have anything, any worry, they make it easy to jump on a FaceTime call and say what's up and work it through. With the heat press, same exact thing. If there's anything that my guys need for the heat press, they call tech support. Tech support takes care of them right away. Email, phone call, whatever it is. I bought into the company because of the customer service. That's what it was. A lot of people, when they buy stuff, they buy based on price, but they don't care about the company that they're buying into. A lot of times people are buying into a company because they were influenced by that company because of somebody like me, a content creator. For myself, I didn't know anybody else with a Ricoma machine. The reason why I went with them was the customer service alone sold me. There's a lot of embroidery machines out there. Tons of them that have been around for years, but none of them had the customer service that Ricoma has, and that's why I mess with them. And like I said, Brianna's been the coolest ever. Like I said, meeting these people from these companies has been just the coolest part of the whole YouTube journey, especially when it comes to the products that I use. Like James from EconoTransfer, perfect example. I use EconoPuff and EconoReflect on everything. I have a jacket right here that I'm wearing today that has EconoReflect printer on it. That's the stuff that I use in my shop. And for James to be cool enough and be such a cool, humble dude to work with them and be an affiliate with them, and I use their products, is cool, is because they're taking a chance on me. I already use them. Whether I was an affiliate or not, I'm still going to use their products because they have the most color puffs, they have the easiest laying down puff, and they have all these dope reflective vinyls that we use in my shop all the time. So like I said, meeting all these guys is like, it's crazy because anytime I take a meeting with somebody, it's always personal first, business last. Anytime that a company reaches out to me that I don't work with or I don't use, it's always business first, business last. If I talk to Rum and Mike from Supacolor, it's always personal first. If I talk to James from EconoTransfer, dude will just text me here and there. He'll hit me up. We'll chop it up. Whenever he's in town, I try to get beers with him, especially at the Impressions Expo. I try to grab beers with them. It's always personal first, business last. Same exact thing goes for Brianna. If I ever jump on a FaceTime call or some kind of video conference call with her, it's personal stuff first. Hey, I went to this concert. We're doing this. This is what my family's doing. This is where I'm at. Business last. That to me is how I like to conduct my business. And especially in my YouTube journey, I try to stick with those same exact morals. Like I said, I turn down a lot of companies. I don't work with a lot of people. You see it. You look at the links in my thing. It's not a long list of links. A lot of them go to the same exact companies because those are the companies that I use and those are the companies that back me and we work well together. But some companies think it's all about money. And yeah, there are content creators that do this full time that, need that big check. So I don't blame anybody for getting their money. But for myself, I just don't do that. You know what I mean? Money doesn't drive me when it comes to making this content. It's because I have a really dope job and I make a lot of money selling t-shirts. So it's not worth it for me to jeopardize my authenticity on this channel to cash a check. That's why you never see me stray away from my normal and what I do. You know what I mean? So my YouTube journey has been a smooth sailing journey. I'll say that. The companies that back me, the companies that I work with, the companies that stand behind their equipment and their products is the same exact stuff that I use. Heat Press Nation Press, Supacolor Transfers, EconoTransfer Vinyl, Ricoma Embroidery Machine, and Heat Press. These are the things that I use for my day-to-day job, not because I work with them, but because they just make good stuff, and that's what I choose to use. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why you don't see, there's no switch up on my channel. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about this company one day and the next day I'm talking about this company. I talk about the same exact companies for years now because these companies work for me. You guys got to find what works for you. But I will say this, meeting you, the viewer, at Impressions Expo, or if I'm at Disneyland, or if I'm out in public somewhere, or, now that I have the retail store, when people come in, it's dope to hear people's own print journey and t-shirt journeys, but also I love hearing how somebody takes my information that I share, applies it to their own business, and they see profit. That's what drives me to keep making videos. Is the viewer is so important to what I do. The way my content is made is you guys ask questions in the comments. I make videos about those questions in the comments. I don't know if you've known that over the years, but I always ask you to ask your questions in the comments because that's how I make videos every single week. Is I read your comments and I say, that's a dope one. Let me answer that in video form. That's how it works. So if it wasn't for you guys, there would be no content because I need to know what you guys want to learn about. I need to know what you guys want to know about. That's how I create this stuff for you guys, all right? Hopefully, this podcast right here does good. I'm hoping that people want to hear about this and see this stuff and learn about this shit because if you guys don't, it's going away and I'm going back to making 10-minute videos or whatever. But I want to do this because it gives me a chance to kind of rant, gives me a chance to sit down with some cool people and talk to them and share their story with you guys. Especially, I'll say this, the people that I've already interviewed and the people that have lined up to interview, they don't have big social media followings. One, some of them aren't even on social media in the sense of having a YouTube channel and stuff like that. These are just everyday business owners, not just clothing brand or t-shirt business owners. These are guys that own barbershops and tattoo shops and full-time producers, full-time DJs. I'm talking Grammy-nominated guys. I'm talking guys with platinum plaques. I'm talking I have so many people that are coming on. I have guys coming on that I've interviewed that, own print shops and own retail locations, but they also own, vape shops and they're in vape juice world and stuff like that. So there's so many other businesses out there, from detail businesses to, guys that own their own plumbing business. There's so many people that I have in my inner circle that I've interviewed already and that I'm going to continue to interview, that I want to share their story with you guys, mainly to share some of the mistakes. But just because I feel everybody can learn from somebody else's mistakes, business mistakes, I hate just sharing the ups of any business. I hate just sharing, oh, look at all my successes. I like hearing about the downs so then I could hear about somebody else's downs and be like, you know what? I don't want to make that same mistake. I ain't trying to do that. You know what I mean? That's the goal for the new BSing with Brandoh or Bullshitting with Brandoh podcast. But this is the very first one for the new year. Hopefully this thing goes good. So you guys let me know in the comments if you guys want more of these types of videos, if you like hearing me talk for a whole hour, or if you're just interested in hearing me interview some of these people. Oh, yeah. And let me say, none of these are going to be done on Zoom, so it's not video. It's all in person. Like me and this other person, maybe we'll crack a few beers together. Maybe we'll crack open some tequila. Who knows? Who knows what might happen on this thing. But I am going to be bringing you a lot of dope interviews from dope business owners in the future. So if you want to hear that stuff, cool. If not, I'm just going to keep it on my hard drive and enjoy it myself. All right. Thank you guys for watching, listening, tuning in, and rocking with the channel. This one was dedicated to you guys. I wanted to kind of just share a little bit of my YouTube journey with some of you guys on how I got started and where I'm at today. Shout out to everybody mentioning this, all the cool people that I've met over the years. Hopefully bring you guys some more cool content this year, all right? Catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah, peace.